What is up, people? Welcome back to another episode today of the My Player Career Mode. And as you all know, you guys had a vote yesterday, or was it yesterday? No, it was on Tuesday. When you're watching this, it should be Thursday. So yeah, it was on Tuesday, the last episode anyway. There was a vote for you all to vote on where we should go next, or where Ben should continue his journey on. And you guys voted for Tottenham Hotspur, basically. At the time when I saw, and at the time when I recorded this video, Tottenham were the winners at 66% of the votes. So if you're voting now afterwards on that video, and after, then I apologise, but your votes won't be counted. So, as I said, at the time of recording this, Spurs were the winners. So, Ben joins up Tottenham Hotspur. He goes over and will be playing his home games at Wembley. And we saw a few comments from you guys in the previous episodes. One of them was saying about him linking up with Dele Alli. But as you know, there is no Dele Alli in the Spurs team. He has, in fact, left, which, of course, I believe they brought in Wood as a replacement for Ali. That's my thought process anyway. So, showing you what the board expects of Ben and obviously his team as well that he's going to be working with for at least the next season. Harry Kane up front. It's going to be interesting to see how he can link up with the big man and see whether or not he can get a few assists on the board this year. Also, to note, I actually didn't realise this, Ben only has a 2-star weak foot and his skill moves are only 3 stars. So, he needs to kind of improve on that front. He is now 21 as well. So he has, of course, had a birthday, which I forgot. And as you can see there, you can see the little, news article about it. 38.5 million is what Spurs paid for Ben. Now, my question to you guys in this video today is going to be whether or not you guys think that's a bit of a risk from Pochettino and Spurs. Do you think 38.5 million is an accurate and an acceptable fee for Ben? Or do you think they should have paid less? Or do you think they should have paid more? What do you guys say about that? I think 38 million is a respectable and kind of average fee considering the amount of money that gets thrown about nowadays, and I feel as though maybe if there should be a different fee, it probably would have been a little bit less, maybe in the £30 million region, but still, he's gone to Spurs. 38.5 million is what they paid for their new playmaker, as I'm going to call him Dele Alli's replacement, and that was that. The team that actually went on to win the World Cup, guys, was in fact Belgium. So, as you know as well, we ended up playing Germany, and England sadly went out on penalties, and it seems as though Belgium went on to win the competition. So, yeah, at least Germany didn't go on to win it for a second time. That would have been pretty annoying, wouldn't it? But still, Belgium come away as world champions. Now it is time for Ben to make his Spurs debut. And actually, guys, I was kind of worried. I can't lie to you. I looked at this and I was like, well, is Ben going to start over Eriksen, or would you be starting Christian Eriksen? I mean, after all, he is technically a better player at the moment. So I was a bit surprised to see Ben picked over that of Christian Eriksen. Luckily as well, Ben will be starting in behind. The only issue is, as you're seeing the Spurs lineup right now, it's a very strong one, but it is actually Janssen up front. I don't know why. It's not Harry Kane, unless there's an injury to Harry Kane, because of course he did pick up that injury just before the World Cup started, so maybe they don't want to risk him just yet. But it is Vincent Janssen up front for Spurs today, not Harry Kane. So 11 minutes into the game, it's Ben's debut in the Premier League. It was going to be interesting to see exactly if he could make the step up from the Championship to the Premier League every week. And Janssen actually had a chance, and maybe if this was Harry Kane, it was 1-0. You can see he brings it down very well, sets himself up with a nice first touch, but his finish, not so good. So, had that have been Harry Kane, maybe that would have been Spurs 1, Southampton 0. So an away game as well to kickstart the debut here for Ben. Not on a home game at Wembley for him, sadly. But in the last few minutes of the game, Southampton got themselves their first chance. It was a mistake made. Gabbiadini kind of played 1-2 with Ben. He couldn't get the ball under control. He should have just kicked it out of play. Didn't do. Tried to bring it under control. Sadly for him, it found its way through to Manolo Gabbiadini, who absolutely levers one into the back of the net and makes it 1-0 with only around about 8 minutes to go. So I was surprised because, truthfully, Southampton did absolutely nothing. That was their first shot of the game. And to have it that way, it was like, are you joking? Are you actually joking? So, sadly for Ben, not quite the debut he was maybe hoping for. A 1-0 defeat here at St Mary's to Southampton. And he sees his team already disappointingly losing. So, whereas he was getting draws at Ipswich, he's now started off by losing at Spurs. Not too good. But he did play at 7.3. It is going to be a tough season for him. You know, every kind of player comes into a new season at a new club and has, you know, big ambitions, and especially the pressure that the board are putting on him. You saw the objectives they wanted. It is an unbelievable amount of pressure on him, because I looked at them and I was kind of a bit surprised. They want him to, I think, set 20 goals up or score them himself, 20 goals this season in the Premier League alone, and keep his match rating at 7.8. So it is going to be a tough season for Ben. It's going to be a long one at that as well. So we'll see if he can do it. And luckily, Spurs are in some European football. They do play in the Europa Cup this year, not the Champions League, but it's still European football, which Ben is about to get his first taste of here, as it is a playoff, this one. It's not actually straight into the group stage for Spurs here. They're going to have to actually play a playoff and try and get through that way. But interestingly enough, Harry Kane actually started this one. So I'm not sure he's injured. I just think that maybe Pochettino prefers Janssen in the Premier League, which doesn't make sense whatsoever to me. But whatever, it is what it is. So, this game now coming up, I'm not entirely sure who the opponents are for this one, but it is a playoff, and I would like to get the job done first time here. I'm sure Ben and the rest of the boys would as well. You can see, as the two teams are shaking hands here, that's the team that you can see coming out. And actually, I think, barring maybe one player in this side, that is quite possibly the strongest lineup that Spurs have here. I think barring Ryan Bertrand, if you put the other left back in there, who I can't remember who it is, it might be Danny Rose still, I think that's the strongest Spurs side currently available. So, 24 minutes in, and we got the opener in this one. Ben picks the ball up, dribbles it through the middle, finds his pass to Harry Kane, and he makes the score 1-0. As I said, why is Harry Kane not starting in the Premier League? Why is it Vincent Janssen? Maybe it's just that one game. Maybe it'll be a recurring theme. We'll have to see if Vincent Janssen is going to start the rest of the Premier League games, but I'm a bit surprised at that. Regardless, Harry Kane steps up, gets the assist for Ben, and that is 1-0 Spurs in this playoff already. So again, though, it is kind of strange to see that Ben is starting over Christian Eriksen in this game as well. Should Eriksen have been starting this one? That's going to be my question mark, you know. It's weird because, personally speaking, if it was me, I probably would be playing Eriksen. But you know what? They spent a lot of money on Ben. They obviously put a lot of trust in him. Pochettino does enjoy his young talents. Maybe that's the reason he's starting Ben over Eriksen here. But 29 minutes in, great run from Ben. Really deserved himself a goal from that one. But sadly, the keeper makes an unreal save. He couldn't stop, however, the rebound falling to Xherdan Shaqiri as he makes the score 2-0 to Spurs here at Wembley. And just like that, Spurs were taking control of the game here. And as I said, playoffs are a difficult thing. You know, the kind of, I guess, opinion of a lot of people in England when you see a playoff is that you're going to get matched against the Mickey Mouse Club and it should be a fairly easy game. But it's sometimes very tough, you know. So to kickstart the way they did and to get the control of the game, Spurs here, I was pretty happy with that one. And into the second half we go now. Ben makes his run straight through the middle. Harry Kane gets it through to him, and that is just world class from the 21-year-old. That is such a good finish. Question marks as to whether or not he's still onside here. You can see from this angle he does continue his run, and actually he is played, I think, just onside, but I don't know who it is that's playing him onside there. It went so quick that I couldn't tell, but it's all about the finish from him. Look at that. Gets there, keeps his composure, keeps his cool, and just dinks the goalkeeper when he's through one-on-one with him. And that is now Spurs 3, the opponents here 0. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name because I don't even know who they are. So yeah, I apologise to anyone who does know who they are. I just went on the wiser pretty much. But Ben, first goal in the Europa League, first goal in a Spurs shirt as well. Vincent Janssen replacing Harry Kane here. Maybe that means Pochettino is going to start Harry Kane in the next game in the Premier League because he has taken him off inside 60 minutes here. So maybe he is trying to keep hold of his fitness. And then it was Ben's turn to make his bench appearance, I guess. Eriksen coming on for him. You can see there as he gives Pochettino a little slap, a high five, or a low five at that. The players very happy with the way he's played, and of course the fans were as well, giving him a standing ovation as he left the pitch there. 15 minutes from time, guys. Spurs in complete control here in this playoffs. Eriksen winning that one back into Janssen. Janssen to Shaqiri, back to Janssen. He gets his strike off. It takes a deflection on the way through, but he is going to be credited with the goal because it was on target and going towards the goal. So he does take a deflection. That maybe is what makes it go in the back of the net there, but 13 minutes to go. It meant the Spurs are winning 4-0, and truth be told, I don't think they need to risk Harry Kane or Ben in the next game. I think they've pretty much done the job here. So 4-0 win. I'd like to think that they could go over to the next, leg in our opponents or in the opponents' ground, and be able to comfortably come away with that one and not have to worry about even playing any of their big superstars in the next game. So whether or not they'll do that, we'll have to see. Whether or not they are willing to risk players in that one, having, in my opinion, already completed the job here in the first leg. We'll see if they want to do that. But Janssen comes off the bench, gets himself a goal. And I suppose, is it going to be Harry Kane starting? Or will it be Vincent Janssen in the Premier League next game? We'll have to wait and find out. But as you can see there, end of the game comes in. 4-0 victory. Job done pretty much. Pochettino shakes the hand of his opponent manager. Lloris clapping the fans, and you can see some of the other boys coming onto the pitch. Ben there in your background, giving one of the opponents there a little hug after a very good performance from the new Spurs man. And Janssen, one shot, one goal. I don't know why they're focusing on Vincent Janssen there. You know, you got Harry Kane scoring, Wood scoring, everybody scoring, I guess. Not everybody, but you know what I'm saying, guys. Decent game anyways. 8.7 match rating for Ben. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually get man of the match, because that one does go to Harry Kane, who picks up a 9.2 match rating from the match. So, not quite man of the match performance worthy from Ben, but still very good nonetheless. A 4-0 win, and you can see the other results there. Newcastle actually in the Europa League as well. They're playing a playoff there against BK Häcken. So there was a few teams in there. I was surprised to see them in a playoffs for the Europa League. Roma, Ajax in there as well. So yeah. Anyways, job done, I think, there. Should be comfortable for us in the next game. But now, moving out of one game into the next one, we're taking on Liverpool here. Ben again picked for this one, and it is actually Vincent Janssen starting up top. I don't know why. Why is it not Harry Kane? Why would you take him off inside 60 minutes if you weren't going to start him in the next game? It doesn't make sense to me. But regardless, if you remember how this one went in real life recently in the Premier League, Spurs came away with a victory. So, Spurs versus Liverpool at Wembley. Ben, in his first, I would say, major test in the Premier League. I suppose you can't really say major test, though, because they did technically lose to Southampton. So, you know, they were the worst team on the day, so credit to Southampton there. But the first game that, you know, Ben is really going to have, I guess, pressure on his hands here, because there was pressure on him in that Southampton game. But even so, you know, it was his debut. Now, he's coming into Wembley. It's his first home game in the Premier League of the season here. And he has not, you know, kind of got off to the heights in the Premier League just yet. You know, he's played one game, underwhelming game. There wasn't really many chances. And now he comes to the Wembley in the Premier League against the Liverpool side, having been picked over the likes of Christian Eriksen. So he's got a point to prove, really. And remember, Liverpool were the other team that wanted Ben to sign for them. So it's a grudge match in many ways here. And luckily, Tottenham were the first team to break the duck and break the ice here. And it was actually not Ben with the assist, as I first thought. I looked at this and I was like, Ben's got himself an assist here, but actually Janssen does lay off the pass here to Shaqiri, who makes the score 1-0 to Spurs here at home. Oh no, sorry, not Shaqiri, it's Perisic. My bad. Perisic makes the score 1-0. So it was kind of strange, because when I first saw that, I genuinely thought that was Ben's assist. It wasn't, though. As I said, it does actually touch Vincent Janssen on the way through, and he flicks it on to Perisic, who makes the score 1-0, as you can see there, 68 minutes in. And actually, I forgot to mention, Ben was actually given number 11 during this season here. He was given number 11 at Spurs. It was taken off Eric Lamela, I think, because Lamela wasn't getting that much game time, and it was actually given to Ben. So, what do you guys think about that? Should he be given a different number? I mean, he's been given number 11, and that's the number he's going to be having for the remainder of this season. And it was the number that he actually chose at Wolves, wasn't it? So, you know, I suppose it has a little bit of kind of sentimental value to him. But luckily for Liverpool, they weren't going to sit back and, you know, just rest on their laurels. And unluckily for us, they did find their way back into it. Philippe Coutinho here, he's just so good, isn't he? And he gets through, makes the score 1-1, and just like that, in a game where Spurs looked like they might get the 3 points, they end up with 1, and it was a 1-1 draw. So, again, disappointing performance, I would say. 7.1 match rating from Ben, didn't really get going in this one either. First home game, it has kind of a bit of nerves. He's played well in the Europa League, I guess, but so far in the Premier League, 2 games, he's only managed a 7.3 and a 7.1 in his match ratings. So I suppose, not quite as good a start as maybe he was hoping to have in the Premier League. But it's still very early doors yet, and anything is possible. I want to keep tabs as well, guys, on where his former club in Ipswich that he spent the loan, season on loan there. I want to see how they get on this season. I want to keep tabs on them, make sure that I'm following them alongside it. But this one now against Aston Villa is the next game for Ben to play. Luckily, it is in the Cup, so maybe, for his momentum and his kind of confidence, it is going to be a booster here if he can perform well against Villa. The team from Spurs, actually, was a very respectable one. They didn't really look at Villa and think that this was going to be an easy game, because they named a very strong squad. You'll see it pop up in a moment's time here as the two teams are coming out onto the pitch here at Villa. Harry Kane starting in the game in the Cup. Honestly, I'm losing it. I don't know why. Why is the club's best striker starting in a Europa League qualifier, playoff, and in the Carabao Cup, but not in the Premier League? What is going on? Why is it Vincent Janssen? I don't know. I just have no idea. So, anyways, that's the team. As I said, it was a very respectable and very strong one as well at that. Ben starting behind, Harry Kane here. So, hoping for a similar situation as that in the Europa League playoff. And 12 minutes in, the first chance did present itself. Ben makes a run into the area, doesn't get the return ball from Harry Kane, but he plays a 1-2 with Heung-min Son, and he gets his effort goalwards, but it's well saved by the goalkeeper. And then we went into extra time, guys, because it was a very boring game, to be honest, and the breakthrough was found here inside 92 minutes. A lucky, kind of bouncing ball here. You can see it finds its way eventually to our teammate, and eventually gets all the way through to Heung-min Son, and he makes the score 1-0, breaking through and getting the advantage here for Spurs. So Harry Kane at this stage, I think, had been substituted. I think Vincent Janssen might have come on. Or, no, maybe actually Jonas came on, sorry, not Vincent Janssen. Jonas came on for Harry Kane. Ben's still on the pitch, though, after this extra time has started. It was kind of strange to see the fact that they'd taken off Harry Kane again, and still Ben was on the pitch. So Heung-min Son making the score 1-0, and there's still a little bit of time left in this extra time, so they can't really rest on that, Tottenham. They need to keep the pressure up. They've been the better team. They just struggled to really find any chances in the game, and that was the problem for them. So Heung-min Son with the opening goal, 94 minutes in. We're still in the first half of extra time. Anything can happen from here on out. So into the next chance of the game then, guys. And it is, again, a Spurs chance for you all. 103 minutes into it, a clearance up the pitch, finds its way to the right-hand side. It's a great turn from our teammate, gets it off to Wanyama. Wanyama all the way to the right, the header is won. And eventually, the ball finds its way to Ben, picks his spot on the edge of the area, and absolutely rifles one into the top corner. And that is a sensational finish. Celebrates with Jonas and Eric Dyer as well, who was actually... surprisingly, Eric Dyer was named captain in a few of these games, so maybe he is the Tottenham captain from now on. But regardless, Ben, lovely finish. Can't really complain at that, can you? Maybe I have to say the goalkeeper might have been able to do a little bit better with that one, but for Ben, he's not going to be worried about that at all, because it gives him a whole heap of confidence. It's now 2 goals in a Spurs shirt for him. Admittedly, none of them in the Premier League, though, so he needs to improve in that front. He got 2 assists as well in the Europa League qualifier, which, again, not in the Premier League. So he's on 2 goals and 2 assists in all competitions so far for Spurs, just not in the Premier League, which is where he needs to improve, I guess. And as you can see, after 120 minutes of football, that was the way the game would end. So Spurs are through to the next round of the Carabao Cup, courtesy of Heung-min Son with the opener and Ben with the second of the game. But other than that, fairly, kind of boring performance. Nothing really happening. And again, Ben was very good, but not quite good enough to pick up man of the match. This one, I do believe, goes to Xherdan Shaqiri. They both played at an 8.1, but the game chose to give it to Shaqiri instead. So, yeah, again, not a man of the match performance from Ben, but I don't think he's going to be worried about that. It is one of them things that happens. I reckon either of them could have done it. You saw with the same match rating, literally could have gone either way, but they chose Shaqiri. It is what it is. Ben will have to keep performing and trying to get a man of the match in the next episode. So, that's going to be where we end today's episode off for you all. Bit of a longer one today. I'm going to try and make these as longer than usual. Like we had them about 13 minutes. I'm going to try and get past at least 16 for you all, and it is kind of a bit more difficult to do. But regardless, he is picked as well, Ben, for some England games in a couple of weeks' time, and it is going to be some European Championship qualifiers. I decided to sim the next game against AIK here, and I felt like the job was done after the first round, and as you can see, we end up picking a 1-1 draw, and it is done after the first round because they do go through, Spurs. So, they will be playing Europa League football, and we'll see what the group stage is in the next episode. If you enjoyed this one, a like rate would greatly appreciate it, guys. As always, I'll see you all again from 4 PM tomorrow for another video. Catch you all then. Adios.